Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel with Raspberries Gaming. I know it's been a little bit, but there has been a lot of busy things going on with my channel, including Twitch and everything else, including clan season, so it's been quite the hectic little time. And before we even knew it, before we even had the chance and we sneezed it out of our nostrils, Wargaming has officially announced the update for World of Warships 0.9.2. So let's get into it, part 1, and let's see what they have added. So, first off, guys, it will be released at 6 a.m. on March 11th, so get your calendars ready. It's very soon. And, well, there's going to be a lot of things. First things, Tier 5 to Tier 9 European destroyers will be hitting the high seas in early access. These ships, I talked about them early on, but we'll go into detail. If anybody wants it, please hit me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below if you guys want a full detail of the whole tech tree from Tier 1 to Tier 10. And we'll talk about the preliminaries, the thoughts, the armor, and the aspects, and all the mechanics involving them, just like we used to back in the day. If you guys don't want that, that's fine. But I just said, if you guys want it, let me know. If you guys are curious and you want me to get into details of that stuff. So first things first, these things have long-range, high-speed torpedoes that now just beat the living crap out of the Japanese. So sorry, Shima, you're no longer the king of the long-range torpedo department. That goes now to the Europeans. And that's not including that these things have a chance of defensive AA, because if I actually showing you in some preliminary shots, these ships, they had Bofors. So they had Bofor anti-air and had the ability to run a defensive AA consumable. However, remember guys that these are rapid firing guns like the French, but do not have a smoke concealment and only have a concealment buff. That's it. So once they get in too close, they're in serious trouble. And the one good saving grace is that this ship from tier 8 and up do get a heal. Um oh wait, sorry. Tier 5 and up get a heal. So you have the ability to like, oh crap, I screwed up. I can back up and heal. So bear with it as you go through. Yeah, this is the also what's added into the Swedish Navy's God, I'm gonna have to try to pronounce this. Simlad stands as one of the largest and strongest destroyers of the Swedish Navy, just like just like a researchable European counterparts. Um, she's got the radar and all that stuff. You can pick this ship up for 2 million free experience, and it is made available in the research, so you can get your hands on that. You also are getting a new map for you guys out there called Fjords. It is a Scandinavian landscape, so fitting for the new destroyers coming out in the game. On top of that, you're getting new emblems for the Europeans. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I like the looks of it. I like that freaking sword with the tails and wheels on that. You're also getting new camouflages with the crowns on the side here. 3 crowns. It looks beautiful. And hopefully you guys will get your hands on those. You gotta get those through they're researchable in 0 to up to 3 and are attainable for conscious by completing special missions for these ships. Next things after all that is the Clan Brawl. We're getting a chance to guys get that. It's 4v4 format. It tier... Where is it? I want to say it's tier 8. Yep, tier 8. And maximum of 1 ship per each team and type. Up to 350 steel, 3,500 coal, and 2.5 million credits. The maps are going to be Hotspot, Shatter, Trident, Northern Waters, and Reduced Action Zones, and Big Race, and standard map sizes of 30v30 kilometers. More details will follow in a dedicated article if you guys want to go into that. The date will be 4/4/2020. So that's in a couple weeks from now. Now for the big article, and that's why it was speeding so fast for the the European thing, because I do like new content, but this was a big ticket item for players who've been talking about nonstop in my channel and everybody else in between. The changes to the inertia field for HE shells. Now I'm gonna go through everything, and I'm actually not gonna slow down here and be a righteous jerk about this. To simplify the interactions between the same tier cruisers, for example, HE shells fired by cruisers 152 to 155 millimeters guns should be capable of penetrating the plating of the same ships without the effects of applied by any extra conditions. These changes are aimed to shifting the inertia fuse HE shoe skill out of most players' first choice of skills. To improve the durability of cruisers in battle, changes of thickness and cruiser plating will make these ships more resistant to battleship salvos if positioned wisely. Hence, wisely for you folks out there. To enhance the distinction between cruisers carrying guns of calibers exceeding 190, the cruisers with 149 to 189 millimeter guns. By changing their armor protection, the former will feature thicker armor and a central quote box, while the latter will have a thicker armor only on the central parts of their decks. To keep the armor protection and the battleships as it is, without inertia fuse for HE shell skills applied, cruisers with 152 and 155 millimeter guns will be unable to penetrate the plating of same tier battleships. We wanted to balance the inertia fuse HE shell's skill in a way to that a combination of positive and negative characteristics that would influence players' choices, making skills less of an ultimate go-to option for training commanders. And to put this in here, we will keep a close eye on how the changes affect the balance and battle performance of certain ships. If required, additional balance corrections will be applied to the skill, and some ships may preserve their battle performance. So there are still going to actually dabble with this in the live server. Remember, guys, this testing doesn't mean that the testing phase is going to ever be the same as the live version. There's a lot more zeros and ones coming through there. So what's the changes going to be? The most applied to the armor penetration capabilities of HE shells has been changed from 30 to 25%. The skill will now reduce the chances of causing fire by half, instead of subtracting 1% or 3% on them, depending on the caliber. It is only a standard chances of the fire caused by HE shells that are reduced by half. Other bonuses to chances of causing a fire and the function as before, such as bonuses provided by Victor Lima signal and demolition or demolition expert skill. Example: standard chances of a fire caused by HE shells of a cruiser Helena is 12%. With Nature Fuse High Explosive, the shell's skill mastered, the chances of cause of fire reduced by 6. With the demolition expert skill, the chances are increased to 8%. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody here. The skill previously provided a significant advance with a minimum penalty, which made it too impactful. We updated a version of the skills which brings more in line to the efficiency of other skills. So let's go with the other parts of this. The rules of calculating armor penetration have been changed for HE and SAP shells. The new rule: the shell penetrates armor if the armor thickness value is less than or equal to the shell's penetration value. We will now apply instead of the old rule. A shell penetrates armor of a armor thickness value is strictly less than the shell penetration value. For example, 152 millimeter shells from a tier 7 cruiser will be able to penetrate the plating of a thickness up to 25 millimeters, as opposed to 24 millimeters it used to be. For cruisers tier 8 to 10 carrying the 152 155s, the armor penetration capabilities of the HE shells have been changed. Previously, we calculated accordance of the 1/6 caliber rule. Now the calculation following the 1/5 caliber rule. While firing HE shells, these ships will be able to penetrate each other's armor plating, as well as plating of tier 8 to tier 10 that are up to 30 millimeters thick, without the use of inertia fuse or HE shell skill. And so on and so forth, pretty much there. So basically, guys, what they've changed, and you can see it here, is they changed the complete aspect of how HE shells can fire. This is before. See, 24, and then with the inertia fuse, it was 32. Now, with that inertia, without the inertia fuse, it's 30 millimeters. Can penetrate the plating of same tier cruisers. Now, for a 128 millimeter gun, German ships except destroyers, because destroyers were 150. This is 150 here. It's 38. 128 is now 32 of same tier battleships. And so on and so forth with these guns. So you got to remember that it is not a decrease, but what they're doing is they're buffing up the amount it can pen with high explosive, but decreasing getting that high inertia fuse, because when the inertia fuse came in, it buffed her, it removed 3 points you can use, and now you had to actually buff out the amount of penetration you get for the shot. With this, your plating hits are going to go up, and your chance of fires might go up, but you're not going to be using it so much. This is the change then to the armor plating. And you can see that except for British Light Cruisers, Essential Parts 13 now goes up to 16 and 229 millimeters off the central part. And you can see even more. These ships have even slightly bigger decks. So, for example, Smolensk was 30 and up to 429 millimeters off the central part. Protection prior to change. AP shells, chance of ricochet. Right? Central part now is going to be 16 millimeters. This is the change after, okay? Up to 229 millimeters off the central part. Yeah. This is going to be a massive change to the Smolensk. Now, for example, let's talk about a traditional ship. One of my favorites, the Des Moines or the Salems. Broadside 27 millimeters and up to 386 millimeters off the plating. That's how much it can ricochet. Now it's a broadside at 30 millimeters and up to 249 millimeters off the central plating. You just bounce off. So it's going to be quite interesting off these parts, especially with the armor. Now, don't fret. Don't freak out. They're allowing players, actually, with this change going on, to reset their commanders and get the points back and get it all fixed up. So, feel free to take care of that. Also, Research Bureau is now giving everybody a reduction in the flags by 50%. I guess they just wanted to actually get rid of some of those research points and make you dabble in those. Good luck with that. Most players are actually going to stay and keep them for the next ships that you probably should release in the Research Bureau Wargaming. Next thing I wanted to point out. This all here, and you can see I'm scrolling quite a bit, is all the recent changes to the game. And you can see one of the big things, because of the inertia fuse, the HE penetration for the armor on all the Germans, 105 millimeters. That means Prince Otto Frederick, Scharnhorst, Scharnhorst-B, the Admiral's Graf-B, Gneisenau, High School Fleet, Admiral Graf-B, has been increased from 18 to 26 millimeters. And seems to have applied to secondary shells of the Konig, the Bayern, the Bismarck, the Tirpitz, Graf Zeppelin B, the Prince Eugen, the Admiral Hipper, the Rune, and the Hindenburg. All those 105 millimeters that you had for DACAs are now increasing their secondaries from 18 millimeters of penetration to 26 without you guys playing with the skill. So you might want to look into that. If you guys have that Arkansas beta, you now have access to the ship's consumable modification 1 upgrade. There's also plenty more in here. Like, for example, here's another one. The Kremlin's Sigma printer has been reduced from 1.85 to 1.8. Really, it's not going to be that noticeable, but for players, it will feel like it's been noticeably changed. Daring and Jutland had their torpedoes and their gun reloads increased. Carriers damage has been decreased. Torpedoes reload has been reduced on the Gearing again. Orion's gotten changed. Chungmu, Henshin Yang, Yu Yang again have been buffed with their torpedoes reduced. Italian cruiser Amalfi had a lot of AA changes. And that caused the continuous damage on the A hull to decrease, unfortunately. For the carriers, this is such a thing. The spotting range of aircraft carrier squadrons, as well as the fighters and spotting aircraft, has been reduced from 19 to 18 kilometers. So, yeah. There's been a lot of these changes, so look in there. Another thing that they've added is they added some HDR enhancements to some of the ports, so look into that. You might like that. On top of that, there's a new collection dedicated to the King of Seas tournament. More details will follow later. Following ships have been added for testing for developers and super testers. I hate to post these, but we do need to talk about them. So let's go to Petropavlovsk, Alexander Nevensky, Rigera, Talium, Piotr Baglev, Orchlov, and Voroshilov. I'm sorry, I suck at this, but this is all those new Russian ships that are on the way to being on the split. So they are currently working on changing the whole thing, and they're already starting to work on the whole segment here. So get ready, folks. That is coming very soon. Might I also add for you guys out there that they also changed some of the little things. Some buffs, some textures, animation of sailing ships and self-paint been fixed. Just a little bit of bugs they fixed in too. So hopefully you guys like it. They also worked on some hull geometry and some of the ships. Even the Nelson got buffed up. Some of the cameras and some things have been fixed up. So hopefully you guys like this update. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys like of the new... how do you guys like the new Europeans? And on top of that, what do you guys think about the inertia fuse changes? Are you looking forward to playing it this way? Do you like it the way so far if you played it? Or do you just feel like Wargaming is just trying to throw stuff at the wall and trying to make you feel happy about the game again? As always, that's enough, folks. I hope you enjoyed 0.9.2. As always, take care, and I hope to see you all on the high seas.